This is the read aloud for your writing prompt. From one of your independent reading books, tell me the theme of the story. Remember, the theme is the message that is below the surface. It must be inferred. All right, so we talked about a lot this year. So if Mrs. Hahn came into the classroom and she was looking down and she had a sad look on her face, you would infer from my actions that either I'm in a bad mood or I'm sad. So with your story, you have to infer the theme. So what is it that you have to learn or that your character had to learn that you could apply to your everyday life? Okay, so we will use the example from A Monster Calls. We read this story at the beginning of the school year. So here's the example of how we could find a theme for the Monster Calls book. So for example, when we read the story A Monster Calls, we found the below topics in the story. So we saw family. Okay, so Connor had his mom and his grandma. We saw death. His mom died in the story from cancer. We saw suffering. Connor suffered from bullying at school. We saw truth. We saw isolation, where Connor didn't feel like he really had anybody around him. And then the supernatural, where Connor was being visited by this monster. Now we know that the monster wasn't like a real monster. It was just something inside of him where he was trying to deal with the grief of the possibility of losing his mom. So here's an example of how to find the theme for this particular story. So you take one of the topics and then you plug it into the author believes that. So we have the author believes that truth, and we're going to plug in the word truth. So the author believes that people need to face the hard truths of their lives. And then you revise that theme statement. You put the title of your book. In the Monster Calls story, the theme is that people need to face the hard truths of their lives. So for example, in the text, Connor's mom was dying of cancer, but Connor did not want to face this truth, even though he knew it the whole time. So we have our theme, and then what I did was back it up with some evidence. Okay, I didn't pull exact text evidence from the story, but I summarized it for you. So my question for you is, what is the theme of your independent reading book by following the above steps that we've been using all school year? So go ahead and type in your theme, and then once you are done, hit submit.